No matter what you think about the Nobel Prize Literatures, overhyped, underrated, politically biased, it is still one of, if not the most prestigious award that any author can wish to receive in his lifetime. Alfred Nobel once said that it is for those who during the preceding years shall have conferred the greatest benefit on mankind. Hi, my name is Ayn, and as the Nobel Prize Literatures for 2004 will be announced on the 10th of October, which I am so excited for, I want to share with you some of the Nobel Prize Literature work that I have read. So yeah, let's get started. We are starting with a book that is very popular, and we all grow up watching the movie adaptations, but some of us don't know that the author actually won the Nobel Prize. Yes, I'm talking about The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. He is awarded in 1907, being the youngest man and the first Englishman to ever win the Nobel Prize. And his prize motivation is in considerations of the power of observations, originalities of imagination, virilities of ideas, and remarkable talent for narration which characterize the creation of this world-famous author. I'm sure that we have all watched the Disney adaptations and other movie adaptations, but the book itself is so much more than that. It has both short story and poem, and it is just absolutely magical and creative and imaginative. This is the story of Mowgli, and he is a man cub, and he got raised by a wolf gang. They adopted him, and he grew up within the jungles and lived with so many other animals. He has a teacher, a bear called Baloo, and Bagheera, which is a panther, and they protecting him from Shere Khan, which is a tiger, the most mighty hunter in the forest, who is counting down the day until he can get his hand on Mowgli. This is not just a children's book. It is the story of right and wrong and good and bad and human versus animal ways of life. And you will just absolutely be teleported across continent to India, where you will have to follow the jungle way of life, the jungle rule, far, far from the civilized life. I highly, highly recommend this book. The next book that I want to talk about is by someone who, in my opinion, is the most famous Nobel Prize winner laureate, and it is Ernest Hemingway with The Old Man and the Sea. He is awarded in 1954 for his mastery of the art of narrative, most recent demonstrated in The Old Man and the Sea, and for the influence that he has exerted on contemporary style. If you like direct narrative, great storytelling, straight to the point, and deep symbolism and a twist of an irony ending, then this is for you. This is about a very old fisherman who engaged in an epic battle to catch a giant fish, and how his perseverance against nature has helped him through it. It is a very short book. I read it in 2 days, but it lived rent-free in my head. For me, this is so much more than just an old fisherman go fishing. This is about life, especially the artist's life who dream of creating some idea that is big, grand, eternal, so greater than himself, and he go through all the hardship to bring that idea into realities. I have so many thoughts and feelings on this book, but I don't want to discuss it now because it might spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it. So maybe I will make another video discussing it, but I highly recommend this book. Next on our list, we have a French Nobel Prize winner, and he is the second youngest man to ever win this prize. I'm holding Albert Camus, The Outsider. He is awarded in 1957 for his important literary productions, which with clear-sighted earnestness illuminate the problems of the human conscience in our times. This is a book about a man who is very mentally detached from everyone else. We start the book by hearing that his mom died through a phone call, and he has to attend the funeral. However, in the funeral, he just doesn't show any emotions, and he kind of feel burdened to even have to attend that. And then he go home and live on his normal life, but accidentally commit a murder. And he got into trial. But in the trial, he just doesn't care at all. And then he got judged by his behavior in his mom's funeral. Personally, this book don't sit with me. I think maybe I'm just not philosophical enough to read it. I know that this is a lot of people's favorite book, and I understand that the author's existential philosophy of life is that life has no meaning and it's kind of absurd. But this man is clearly a murderer, and he's probably a psychopath too, because he kills someone without feeling any remorse, and he just keep blaming that it's because the sun and the heat that make him getting angry. I don't know. Anyone here who vouched for this book, how do you interpret the main character behavior and philosophy? Please let me know in the comments. Next, we have a Japanese laureate, and that is Yasunari Kawabata. I have here Snow Country and Beauty and Sadness. He is awarded in 1968 for his narrative mastery, which with great sensibilities express the essence of a Japanese mind. Where do I even begin? Because I can discuss Yasunari all day. These both works are quite similar, both in the plot and in the writing style, so I will discuss them all at once. Yasunari's style for me is like a work of art, like a Japanese painter, but with words. His works are very demure, very mindful, very delicate, lyrical, and gentle, with beautiful description of natures. And it's like how you would look at a Japanese art and appreciate the craftsmanship. That is how I feel about his work. His writing style is like, how do I say, a stream of spring water that just flows through you. It's so beautiful, and you can just feel it by reading a few pages in both of these books. However, the plot are just always so weird. I feel like Yasunari is the most Japanese author I've ever read. And the prize motivations of how he demonstrates a Japanese mind, that is so true, because the main character in this book lived in the 20th century, like Yasunari, and they are very restricted with the Japanese social etiquette and social rules at that time. They would just always suppress their emotions. The main male characters are always depressed, wealthy, toxic, dominant, has family and wife, but treated the wife like an object by lying and cheating on her with just a fresh teenagers who make him feel alive and interesting and just so fall deeply in love. And the ending just always leave me question mark. So do I like this? Do I like reading it? Yes. Do I adore it and agree with it? No. But do I recommend it? Yes. Mainly for the reason that I think it will not take much of your time, and it's nice to be in the head of Japanese in the past century. I also had a vlog of reading Snow Country and say what I thought on this book, so you can check these videos out. Next, we have a Colombian laureate, and I feel like at this point we're just flying all around the world. It's so fun. And I'm talking about Gabriel, Garcia, Marquez. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. And this is 100 Years of Solitudes. And he is awarded in 1982 for his novels and short story, in which the fantastic and the realistic are combined in a richly composed world of imaginations, reflecting a continent life and conflicts. I will show a lot of bias in this book, because this is the book that made me fall in love with reading all over again. I remember not having picked up a book in literally 3-4 years, and I saw this on my sister's shelf, and for some reason I just pick it up and read it without knowing anything in it. And that is just the best experience that I have had with reading. I would trade a lot of things just to read this again for the first time. So Marquez is one of the first writers who used kind of like magical realism in his writing style, which is a style of writing fantasy where fantasy is like treated and lurk into the daily life, like everyday occurrence. It looks short, but this is actually a very long book, because the way that he writes it, it's so weird. It has very little context, like conversation, so mostly it's a big chunk of word like this. It is a bit hard to read at first, but once you get used to it, you will just be absolutely absorbed and captivated in the little town called Macondo, and with the 7 generations of the Buendia family. It's just utterly magical, and I speak it with all my heart. You will meet ghosts that visiting people, a girl who fly, people living for more than 100 years is very normal, and lots of people with the same name. This book is about ambitions, adventures, hopelessness, family love, insects, lots love, regrets, war, and how everything is accompanied by solitude. Highly recommend. I love this so much. Finally, we are having a woman on this list. I am so excited. Shout out to Queen Toni Morrison, and I'm holding here Beloved. She is awarded in 1993 with prime motivation is who in novels characterized by visionary force and poetic import give life to an essential aspect of an American realities. That is just so true because this book shed light on terrifying historical fact. It is about the cruel slavery and violence being executed on people of color in America back in the 20th century, which if you really think about it, it's just like a few decades before us. The writing style is actually a bit hard at first for me, I'm not gonna lie, because the author keeps switching scenes and being ambiguous and secretive about what happened to the characters in this book. But once you get used to it and go through a few first page, you will definitely catch the pace and the hook of this book right away. And for me, after that point, the writing style is just so incredible because I keep wanting to know what will happen next. I love the use of magical realism in this book. I feel like it is very similar to 100 Years of Solitude, where they use kind of like bringing ghosts and spirit to retell an old story. And I'm going to read you the first sentence because I really like it. 124 was spiteful, full of baby venoms. The woman in the house knew it, and so did the children. The author also released an audio version, which I heard nothing but praise for it because they say that her voice really just brings this book to life and make the word struck even harder. I love this book. I really enjoy reading it. I think that it is absolutely a piece needed in history and it's just a stunning literature work. So yeah, I highly recommend it. We have come to our last Nobel Prize winner and he is a very popular author in recent years. And I'm talking about Kazuo Ishiguro and I'm having Never Let Me Go. He is awarded in 2007 for being, sorry for my English, who in novels of great emotional force has uncovered the abyss beneath our illusory sense of connections with the world. This is like a dystopia, dark academia, science fiction, coming of age story. I will not say anything about the plot because I think that Kazuo Ishiguro book is best when you step into it knowing nothing because he has a very unconventional choice of themes and topics. But I would say that this is about a group of friends who in life has only one mission and they don't know what is the mission yet. I think that captured it pretty good. Actually kind of proud of myself for thinking of that. I'm sorry. So sadly, as I expect to adore and love and be amazed about this book and cry my eyes out, this is not my favorite. I know that it is a lot of people's favorite book and they say that it's the best book that I read. I do step into this book knowing nothing and I was pleasantly surprised by the plot, but I just find the ending to be quite predictable and it's not as sad because I predicted it. How do I say? It was a very pleasant experience. It is well written and I love the way that he described the character emotion, but I just don't like it. I will definitely try reading his other work, which I'm so excited. I have The Remain of Day and A Pale View of Hills on my list, and I think that I will love those. I feel like I will love those books more. That is the end of this video. If you have read any of this work or other Nobel Prize Literature work, please let me know in the comment below. It would definitely make my day. And if you have any predictions for 2024 Nobel Prize Literatures, also let me know in the comments. If you want to know what I just bought for my autumnal and winter book haul, you can check these videos out. So yeah, I see you next time. Thank you for watching.